because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Omar, you son of a bitch. All right, so I am very excited today to have my wonderful friend Omar here with me. Thank you for joining me, Omar.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I'm so excited because this is the release of a book, a project that we have worked on together, doing the voice recording for, and I'm super excited. So I'm going to just give a little quick explanation for all of our listeners for what's going on. So the Omega Artifact is a short story that bridges the gap between the North Valley Grimoire and the sequel, which is the Celestial Kill Switch, which will be coming out later this year. So because 2020 was such a crazy year all around, you know, people are out of work, there's just craziness happening everywhere. I wanted to do something that would be like a little bit different. And I really wanted to give my readers something free to be able to enjoy at home. A lot of people are at home. So, you know, there are a million like books and Kickstarters going on right now, but I really wanted to do something a little different. So with this book, I'm going to be giving it away for a limited time for free. And I'm also going to have my good friend here, Omar, who has recorded the voice work for the audiobook. So I really wanted everyone to be able to experience your amazing voice and incredible talents. And it's available right now. You can get this book, and all the links are going to be included below. So please check them out. And please, 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 if you like the book and the audiobook, please leave a star rating, because that would really mean the world to us. Right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Like, I've been waiting for this.
I know. Forever.
When did we start this?
Oh, gosh. I want to say beginning of last year?
I want to say it was the beginning of last year, and I'm trying to think of exactly when you pinged me about it and said, "Hey, I got this thing."
Well, I know of your incredible talents with voice work,
thank you.
right? So I was just waiting for the right opportunity when I was like, you know, who could knock this out of the park? Omar. He has
I remember you sent me, and what's so funny about this is and this is always true of any, because you gave me, what's funny is you gave me my start on this, and we talked about that, you know, in previous, in the last time we talked in a previous interview. And that led to a lot of things that I was able to do. And this felt like the bookend to that, because I think back to that, I was still kind of learning. And since that time, I've had some years to be able to perfect it and get a studio in my house and just better equipment and different things. Right. And when you came to me with this, you said, you know, hey, it's, you know, you got to do the voices for everybody. And I remember, like, my eyes got wide and said, wait a minute. And you were like, hey, it's mostly two guys, you know. And as we started thinking through what the voices would sound like, and I got a little bit of time with each character and started to, you know, develop it a little bit. The voices just started coming out. And as I went back to it, you really don't know it when you're reading it, right? But it's in the editing process that you hear, like, you think you might have something. And I'll say this, it's much easier to provide voice work for material that is really, really good. You know, because what I would do is I would get up, I would have the best voice or, you know, baritone early in the morning. So this is during, you know, for us at Disney, this was during like the closure period. So we were closing the parks during that time because of COVID. Right. And you would think that would be something where there wouldn't be a ton of work because you're closed, right? You know, that was my thinking. And then you had a rude awakening of just how busy it is and just how much effort it takes to close Walt Disney World, right. You know, and then later on in the summer, reopen. So it was during this window that I was recording, you know, for Omega Artifact. And so our days, you know, on Zoom calls and just different things are loaded, you know, from the moment you would get up to sometimes well past what you would think would be a normal work day. And I know that's true for everybody that is fortunate enough to even be working right now. So in order to get this done, I would get up at like 4:30 in the morning and I
Wow.
would go down into the studio and would read, and it became a thing of where, what is it, like 12 chapters, I think, for this, or 11 or 12 chapters. It became something that I so looked forward to because, and I think I was pinging you like, man, like, this is really good. This is like really good, and I don't mean it in that way where you're surprised. It's not that I'm surprised it's good, but like you're going down and when you're in that mindset and recording, it's a job,
Right.
and you don't think necessarily that you're not reading it for pleasure. You're reading it to get something down that you can then go in and tweak or something, get you something to review. And I found myself just sort of going through it every day and saying, wait a minute, I can't believe that you did this, and then this.
Oh my
It's
God.
so well done, Blake. It's so
Oh,
well done.
thank
It's
you
such a
so
good
much.
story.
Well, just, to reiterate here, this book I thought would be perfect for you because, like you mentioned, there's the two male central kind of characters, right? That one is actually British. So you had to kind of take on an alternate, voice kind of inflection for that character. But because they're both like male, I thought, oh, this is perfect for you. You'll be able to pick it up, no problem. Because in the first North Valley Grimoire, we follow Callista Scott, who is she's the main protagonist, right? So it's her story. She's unlocking a mystery or in the, surrounding the grimoire. And there's also a government conspiracy with an agent named Malik. So in the Omega artifact, now we follow this agent Malik on his last assignment before he's promoted to be director of the Father Division, which is, while he's also, running through that scenario, a new agent comes on board who's along for this assignment named John Seafried. So you have these two characters, Malik and Seafried together, kind of, I want to say it kind of feels like a buddy cop movie. Like I'm thinking like Lethal Weapon, like they're going through all
Mm,
of these kind of strange instances. They have to investigate things. They're kind of hate each other one moment, then they're helping each other out the next moment. So I thought it would be a really great story that you would be able to just, dig into. And it's also a short story, I should mention. It's not as long as the North Valley Grimoire. It's meant to bridge the gap, between the two longer novels. So, but I'm just so glad. And I didn't realize even at the beginning that you were waking up that early to
oh yeah.
get it out because, oh my gosh, that's so early. You're a trooper, man, because I couldn't work it that early.
It kept me sane. A lot of what we deal with, and I'm wondering if other people who will see this are also dealing with it. It's this weird sort of, you're managing so many emotions because of just the nature of things. I've heard people now, that we're a little deeper into it, are going through the whole Groundhog Day. Like every day you're getting up and it's sort of the same thing, and that's driving people nuts. And the feeling like you're living your life just to be on Zoom calls and that sort of thing. And then there's the guilt around that because you're like, well, at least I'm working, and so it's. And I told a coworker today, I said, unhappy doesn't mean ungrateful. You can be grateful for every single blessing that you have and still not have something that you can feel good about. And so this was something that kept me sane, during a time when there was a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Um, it gave me something like I couldn't wait to get into the booth because it was like, okay, I can't control anything else that's going on, but I can pour my all into this story. And like to this day, it's the best thing I've ever done. I really hope that your readers enjoy it. I really do. I'm nervous, to be
I
honest with you.
know, you have nothing to be nervous about. It is incredible. I am so glad everyone is going to get to experience, the joy of your voice and your enthusiasm as you're reading this book. There are actually a lot of my readers who have contacted me and said, like they're doing different, I don't know, different jobs throughout the day and they can't focus on whatever they're doing. So they use as like background noise. They like to have stories to listen to and they use the audiobook for that to kind of help them, sort out whatever they're doing or focus. And I think that's fabulous. If I had a job where if I could write a book and listen to a book at the same time, I would be doing it. Because that's the best of both worlds. A lot of people that's like, especially artists have reached out to me.
Mm,
listen, because they can sometimes, do their work and maybe, I don't know, color or ink or whatever they're doing and listen to a book at the same time. So, I really
Impressive.
think that you did such a great
Oh,
job.
thank
And
you.
oh, thank you. You're like, thank me. I'm like, thank you, because like so like beyond expectation.
It
And
was fun. It was a lot of fun to do. One of the things that I was nervous about is when you're doing both voices and the characters are having a dialogue.
right.
So you're essentially you're really three characters. When you're doing that, you're Seaford in one sense, and
Mhm.
so Seaford's sort of your straight man. And you've got to deliver him in that way. And then Malik, of course, is the big personality. I forget
He's
what the
British.
direction was that you gave me on him, but he's man, I wish I could remember how you told me because it was so perfect for him, and it'll come to me. But he's got his quirks and his personality,
Right.
and then you've got to have a narrator voice or tone, and each one of those has to be distinctive throughout the work because otherwise a listener can get confused as to who is supposed to be speaking.
Right.
And so you've got to deliver it in such a way that everybody can have a unique voice, and the narrator essentially becomes a character. And then in the edit, it has to be spaced out just so that the key beats are there. I tell people all the time, it's not the read that's hard, it's the edit, because I'd go in
Right.
and there were a couple of things in there that I could read something that would be, you knew I would struggle with certain country names just from being American, right? That you were
Right.
like,
Had a
I was going to
discussion
struggle with those.
yeah, about
Yeah.
how there are some words that they say, especially when you're doing like the British intonation. They just, like they say their words in a certain way. And I remember we did discuss that a little bit. I'm not,
Mm.
I think that the main thing too is that it's the enthusiasm for the characters and the overall, you can sense that overall joy that you get from doing
Mm.
the character. It's not so much for me like every little word, like, oh, this has to be that way. Because you did such a great job.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I think that people are going to really, really be excited about it. And I'm hoping that, they'll be able to check out your other works and whatever else you're working on. I know you're a
Fingers
writer,
crossed. Yeah.
right? So definitely that's exciting. And you have so much on the go that I'm just really thrilled that we were able to team up for this project because it was
Yes.
fabulous.
Well, I love working with you. That's one of my great joys. And it's rare. It was rare in 2020 to have anything to look forward to. And this was one of those things
Oh,
that I could get up every day and say, again, I can pour myself into this, and this is making me happy. So, I'm glad that you felt like it was coming out because
yeah.
it definitely was the one thing that I was looking forward to the most every day. To kind of get me through the rest of the day, and then
Makes
when
me
we
so
were done, no,
happy.
it's you don't it's when we have creative opportunities, the characters and these stories, it's well, one, it's such a good book, and you can sort of lose yourself in it. The biggest thing I was going to tell you was that I love the pacing.
Mhm.
It feels like you're watching a film. You're thrown in, immediately. You're in a situation where, um, I would say that it could almost, even though it's a bridge, it could stand on its own. Like
Yes.
you could walk into this, for anybody that's watching this or listening to this that has not read the first book. Um, I would highly recommend getting the first book. But you can actually go into this as
Right.
well. It can stand on its own.
As a side note, so the character John Seafried was actually one of my Kickstarter backers from the first book from the North Valley Grimoire, who had purchased the package where I'm going to be writing a separate book for them. So he is now one of the characters that he gets to play in this
Very
side novel.
cool.
Right? So how cool is that? So I hope
That's
John,
amazing.
I hope you loved it.
Yeah, I'm like, has he? I'm assuming that he's had a
Yeah,
chance to read it and check it out. Okay,
forth quite a bit about it because I get a lot of input when I do one of these separate stories. I get a lot of input from the people who are wanting to be the patron of that story, and But like, as you were saying, back to the idea of, I also wanted it to be, though, a story where anyone could just pick it up and come along for the ride, and it was full of adventure and it'd be fast paced and make sense. So the main thing I think I should just maybe clarify is that the Father division is actually stands for the Federal Authority of Transmogrified Human Expression Research. That's what the acronym Father stands for. So some people online were asking me, because I made little stickers that went along with the packages for Kickstarter, and they were like, what
Right.
does Father mean? Does this have anything to do with like the male female dynamic in the book, or what is it? And it's really my take on sort of like Big Brother is all
Mm.
watching us, from like Orwell's 1984. That's my version of it, is this Father division. So, but other than that, I really don't think there's any like background information you need to have to pick it up and just enjoy it. And I really wanted it to feel like you're saying this kind of cinema, like give it a vibe of like you can picture it being a movie. It's fast paced, very cinematic in scope and feel, and these characters that are kind of, Malik especially, he's kind of a over the top character, like you said. So it was really fun to
Right.
write. Indeed, I love
It was
that.
fun to read for him. There's a when you mentioned Father Division, it made me think of a line in the book where he is explaining the acronym, and just I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's a funny line that I had to reread in the booth because I laughed. It was as I was reading it, I said it's so perfect. These characters are so well written. One, I got to say, just as somebody who writes, and then you go to read someone else's work, and you and I've talked about this. There's an extra layer when you're a writer reading someone else's work, and then you're reading uh, it out loud.
Right.
And there's a difference between absorbing it for pleasure and absorbing it for a job. And this was one of those rare cases where I got to do both. And there would be things that I would read, and I think that was what made me so excited as a creator reading your work, was that you managed to get me to suspend my disbelief while I was on a job.
Wow.
And in the story, it's that good. It's
Well,
that good of a book, that I was excited to get up and go to work on it and sort of lose myself. It actually made it easier for me to develop voices and to get more into it, as a performer, as
well, that's
well.
incredible to hear. Thank you for all the praise, by the way. And I'm just hoping that the readers will get it while it's out, for right now for a limited time. It's free, so I hope everyone gets it. And will let me know, what they think of our work and your voice recording work, and give us the feedback, because it's one thing, like we talked about too, to be creating all this, putting your heart and soul into it for so long. But when it finally becomes revealed to everyone,
Mm.
it's scary, but it's exciting at the same time, right? So we've been talking about it and dreaming about it for so long. Now I am just like, chomping at the bit for people to get it in their hands and like actually listen to the audiobook and read it and hear what everyone has to say. So I'm just thrilled that we were able to really team up together to do this. And you did such an incredible job, Omar.
Thank
Like,
you.
as you know, when you write something, it is very meaningful for the writer, the author of the project, but you put it in someone else's hands, right? You have to be able to trust that other person.
That's tough. Yeah.
And, I had no qualms at all about leaving it with
Mm.
you. I felt like it was in great hands. I knew you were going to be able to just take it and fly with it and do something awesome. And I was right, because you did such an incredible job. And
Thank you.
I hope that everyone listens to it and gets to enjoy your incredible voice work. And
Thank you so
what
much.
I'm going to do too is make sure that all the links for all of your work are included below, so everyone can find all of your stuff, what you're working on, your projects that are coming up, and hopefully, this will lead to more projects.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you write next so that I can continue?
Oh, good. Actually, I'm focusing a lot this year. I'm going to be having, like I mentioned, the Celestial Kill Switch will be out later in the year, but I am still
I'm
working
excited about that one.
right now. So I'm doing some projects with them. I have two projects that I'm working on, which are more in development phases, which I can't really talk about yet. And I'm leaning heavily this year also into screen writing, which is very exciting because it's like a whole new direction for me. You know, when you get involved in anything that really like lights you on fire and makes you feel super excited, that's the way I'm feeling about doing the screenplays and screenwriting. So it's exciting, and I'm hoping later in the year, in the next couple of months, I'm going to have a couple of bigger announcements to make. So yeah, that'll be fun. But right
Well,
now,
I'm excited. Yeah, you got me hyped.
no, you'll be the first to know when I can scream it out to the masses, and you all just be excited. But yeah, no, I'm really excited though about this right now for it to be out, and finally people can get it. So I'm really, really happy that it turned out so great. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all of your hard work because
Oh, my pleasure. My
you,
pleasure. I'm just excited that we're getting to do it.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you did such an incredible job. So thank
Thank
you
you.
again. So thank you for joining me today. I know you are super busy. You're working at
Oh,
Disney, you have all your other things on the go, your other projects you're working on. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this little chat
oh,
with me
you
about it.
already know. Anything for you.
Oh,
Absolutely anything for you.
oh, you're the best, Omar. Well, thank you again. And I hope that all of our listeners enjoyed our little chat about the Omega artifact. And please check out the links below so you can go and listen to it and get your copies.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thanks, guys. Till next time.